Udacity are using are actually very good models, but they just haven't quite taken it. They haven't taken it to the next level. They're very much in like the kind of the beta stage, and it's great that like we get to see them and play around with them when they're in that stage. But like the thing that I would like to see is like huge levels of like experimentation, doing crazy things that you can do, online, and rather than just kind of taking a university course and making it on the internet.
Like what? What's the next one?
Well, I don't know. If I did, I would be doing it. Ideas like peer grading or other sorts of social involvement. I mean, ultimately, I'm not entirely convinced that the internet is necessarily like the future of education either. Like that's another question, which is a bigger question. It's definitely the future of like transmitting information. Like the internet is a great way of transmitting information. I'm not sure it's a great way to learn. A lot of times I learn best by taking some information that I may or may not have known already, and then going and working with it and trying to come to my own understanding of how it fits together. And I think that, and then trying to put that together into a picture of what I already know. And that's like when people learn things, there's a combination of getting new information and then actually incorporating that into this, the kind of picture you have of the world in your mind.
Yeah, I don't think education happens just on the internet, and I don't think it ever can. I don't think we can ever recreate that process on the internet, and I think if we're trying to recreate it, we're doing it wrong instead of just doing something else. Because there's still going to be, like, we still have these physical lives that we get to lead, so we can still do some of that stuff. But I actually think that Khan Academy is doing some, and I don't know why you want to speak to this, but I think that they're doing some really interesting stuff on that front in terms of building those resources outside of the videos that allow deeper engagement.
Yeah, we are trying to do that. We think peer tutoring is an extremely useful way to learn for both sides of that. So we're trying to test out things like, great, someone in your class understands that someone else is struggling, let's put those two people together and see what happens, and they're both gonna do better. So that's something we're testing, and it's exciting to me. But certainly, we don't know the answer, and I think everyone's trying a lot of different approaches.
All the way in the back, Sandy.
I'm wondering, how do you sort through all the many ideas you have to decide what you're going to actually make a video on? Because I know that everyone has so many things they probably want to put out there, but you have to choose just one to focus on for your time period. How do you choose that?
It's most challenging for Mike.
Lots of arguing, actually. I mean, the beauty of our show is that it's like we can present sort of an idea and try to test it out. And the way that we test it out is by having a conversation and just seeing whether or not you can have an interesting conversation about it. And if you can, then that's the sign for us that other people will also be able to have a really interesting conversation, and that if one of us says something, it's so that the people who make the shows, I'm talking about me, and there's a director whose name is Andrew. When one of us says something to the other, and then the other of us says, yeah, totally. That's not like we take that as a sign to be like, and as far as where those things come from, I mean, I spend my life staring at Chrome, so Google Chrome, not polished metal. Though that might be better for my eyes. And so I just try to stay interested in modern culture and stay interested in the art world, and like if there's a thing that I am skeptical of or want to know more about, I just try to follow the path.
I find it really easy to prioritize. It's the thing I'm most excited about, and I can't wait to tell someone. Like if I go out and read something, or I meet a scientist and he or she tells me something, sometimes they'll say something and it'll be like, I cannot wait to go home and tell my wife that, that's amazing. And if I can't wait to tell her, it also means I can't wait to tell everyone on YouTube. So sometimes I have 3 or 4 things videos I want to make, and I think I'll probably do that one, and that one, and that one. But first of all, I've got to go and meet a scientist, and they'll tell me something amazing, and I'm like, that's going straight to the front of the queue, and I drive home and I'll do that one straight away. So if you're really enthusiastic about something, that's also a good way to judge it.
I totally agree, except I don't have a wife.
He's very handsome and available.
I mean, wow. Could you have been more bronzer?
See Henry afterwards.
What a great panel. But imagine for just a second that you, even though you don't have a wife, you're expecting your first child. And you want to go to YouTube. And you want to go to YouTube to learn not the facts, but the wonder and the science and the dirty diapers practicality of it all. How would you want to find that information? Would you want it to be a scattershot of the coolest things you've never heard about kids? Would you want it chronological? That, at 28 weeks the earplugs fall out and you didn't even know they had earplugs, they fall out and they memorize rhymes? Would you want it to be topical? What's in the news? What's the right perspective on that? Would you want it to be organized systematically by the different kinds of topics you learn? What would you want?
Am I the only father? Because I can take that. It's not that hard. Lots of people do it.
Or answers to questions, the other way.
I would want it chronological. When Sarah was pregnant and then when Henry was first born, we were very focused on chronology as, I would usually not say that, but with that particular topic, I think that's the way parents tend to focus, is very chronologically, because they're very focused on what's supposed to be happening right now, and it's all anxiety driven. So.
Red shirt.
But I guess in each of your fields, you could call them, there's like a vast, like infinite amount of things. Maybe not infinite.
No, it's pretty good.
Some
Especially-
some activities are bigger than others. So anyway, I was wondering if you guys, for your like individual channels, have like, I guess, like, not like a be-all, end-all goal, but like a goal of like where you're going with it and like where you want it to be ultimately. And I guess Angela, like, what do you ultimately want education on YouTube to be? Great, that was, I think, correct.
Yes, well, I can quickly prove to you in mathematics that there is an infinite amount of information, and if you're going for the model where you just memorize facts, you're never going to do it. I mean, 1 plus 1 is 2, 1 plus 2 is 3, and then you can go, I don't know, 1 plus 4, and you can keep going, and now you have an infinite amount of facts that, like, 1 plus each number is a following number, but you don't need to memorize them all individually. You get the concept, and you can add 1 to any number, and you know that can happen infinite times. You don't need to memorize all the infinite amount of information. And especially in mathematics, you should get to the point where you kind of know enough concepts that now, instead of all these equations being different facts, they're also just as easy as adding 1 to any number, and now they're all the same one mathematical way of thinking. So if I can teach people how to think mathematically, they don't need to know an infinite amount of information because they can figure out anything they want to know.
Such a good question. Such a good question that I think we're struggling. Hank?
I mean, we solved this problem by being like, what does the AP curricula say? Like, what?
Well, but we didn't really do that.
Yeah,
We say
that's what we pitched to YouTube though, and she's
Yeah.
But I mean, we do. Like, I go through the textbook that most intro biology students use, and we have, we use a lot of that stuff. So it's kind of annoying. Like, I probably would teach it different, but since we said we were going to do that, we do follow a lot of the AP curricula. And it's very interesting to think like there's a group of people somewhere that decides what that is. And who are they? I'm sure they're well qualified, but who are they to decide for all of America what counts as knowing biology? And breaking free of that, as Henry was talking about earlier, feels like what the internet should be doing. And so sometimes I feel very limited and kind of frustrated that that's what we decided to do. And as you say, I really do feel like, you could the thing about science is, as a research scientist, what you're studying is a very small amount of, it's very narrow and very deep. And so when you just dive into one thing, you're like, I could read about this for a year and I wouldn't know everything. But a lot of the times, that really deep stuff is the stuff that's really annoying. I mean, interesting. It's also really annoying. Obviously, I think that subconsciously. But yeah, it's and it's what's really, and it's kind of also can be what makes the story interesting. So I feel like and that sort of brings my thought process back to what I said, where if you can teach, you can almost teach one little thing in biology. You can look at your fingernail and be like, okay, what the heck is this thing? How does it work? Where does it come from? Why is it there? What is it made of? And at the end of it, you're on the weak force. It's at the fundamental forces of physics. And then suddenly you're not just you haven't just memorized this fact about what my fingernail is made of. Now you're thinking scientifically from the top to the bottom. And now I want to do an entire course called fingernail.
I guess just to answer the second part of the question, from a YouTube perspective, what I would love to see is, so there's lots of folks making educational content on YouTube, but I think we're really just at the beginnings of what we could be. I really do hope that people start to think of, or people outside of this room also think about YouTube as a place to learn and to utilize that, whether you're a teacher or a parent or a student, to enrich your lives. So from my perspective, we're really, the reason why we said to John Higby, please do go do something.
To see them and play around with them when they're in that stage, but the thing that I would like to see is huge levels of experimentation, doing crazy things that you can do online, and rather than just kind of taking a university course and making it on the internet.
What's the next step?
Well, I don't know. Udacity are using are actually very good models, but they just haven't quite taken it. They haven't taken it to the next level. They're very much in the kind of the beta stage, and it's great that we get transmitting information. The internet is a great way of transmitting information. I'm not sure it's a great way to learn. A lot of times I learn best by taking some information that I may or may not have known already, and then going and working with it and trying to come to my own understanding of how it fits together. And I think that, and then trying to put that together into a picture of what I already know. And that's when people learn things, there's a combination of getting new information and then actually incorporating it into this, the kind of picture you have of the world in your mind.
Yeah, I don't think education happens just on the internet, and I don't think it ever can.
If I did, I would be doing it. And ideas like peer grading or other sorts of social involvement. Ultimately, I'm not entirely convinced that the internet is necessarily the future of education either. That's another question, which is a bigger question. It's definitely the future of